Hey everyone, welcome back to Willson Builds. If you're new here, I'm Zach. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're returning from a previous video or my Instagram, thanks very much for the support and thank you for showing up for today's video. Today, we're working on our 327. Long story short, we got a 327. We set up the motor in the Roadster as a 350 and we were intending to use the 350. And then this 327 came up for a really good deal and I thought it would be kind of a cooler motor for what we're doing. And I don't know, I just really like the 327. It's always stood out to me as a cool motor. So had the opportunity to get one and we got it. It's basically clean on the outside. We're gonna have to do a little bit more getting paint off and so on and so forth before we spray it. But I'm gonna run down to Gas Classics and grab a few things and order a few things for this motor, gaskets, so on and so forth. So let's head there now and then we'll come back and start working on the motor, hopefully pulling off the heads and kind of checking out the internals and so on and so forth. All right, so I figured since it's such a nice day out, we can utilize the hog today and take the motorcycle down to Gas Classics and grab a few things. We also have to go to KMS Tools, so two birds with one stone. So yeah, let's get on the bike and head down there. Package secured. All right, so we got our cam plate, we got our dipstick, we got our timing chain, we ordered head gaskets, oil pan gaskets, valve cover gaskets, timing chain gaskets, and yeah, if you're in Victoria, don't waste your time going to places that their employees are just there to collect a paycheck. Go to Gas Classics, check them out. Very knowledgeable. They're there because they love hot rods, and that is huge to me. Very important to support local small businesses as well. So if you're in the area, go check them out. They're the best. Anyways, let's start getting these heads off. I think that's the next step here. Okay, so we already got the push rods out of this side. We've got to take them out of this side now. So we'll get to that. So the whole motor's been pretty clean. I mean, I didn't clean much. I cleaned some stuff out of the heads, but I mean, this was the common push rod on this side. You could see lots of crust. This is the other side, same hole. And each one on the driver's side is very clean, whereas like 80% of these were like this. So not too sure what we got going on there. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it looks just as good as in here and underneath as it does underneath the heads. So let's start getting these off. I'm a little hesitant, but hopefully there's nothing too bad within the holes that we're gonna have to work on. Okay, good news, bad news. The bad news is there is a little bit too much of an edge in these cylinder bores. I don't know if I can get the mic close enough for you guys to hear this, but that's my fingernail. I cleaned them up, hoping it was just maybe a carbon buildup. It's not. So this motor's kind of out of the question now. I mean, we have a 350 sitting in the Roadster frame, so we'll just use that. I like the 327 idea because it has no kind of accessory bolts in the heads. It just looked a little cleaner to me, but that motor is probably much better for what we're doing. But puts a little bit of a kind of dampen in the mood because that 350 is supposed to go in the Mercury, and this, whatever, we just have to find another small block Chev. Not a big deal. And the Mercury can wait. We can do a lot of other things. We could even use this as a mock-up motor while we build an exhaust and kind of go from there. But anyways, this is out of the question now. So we're gonna pull the 350 out of the Roadster now and kind of do everything we were gonna do anyways and get it ready. So this is the motor we originally were gonna use, and then we found the 327. Like I said at the beginning, I really like 327s, and I mean, appearance-wise, not much different. I mean, the only real difference is it has accessory holes on the heads, and that's not a big deal. So we're originally going to leave this in and build the exhaust and paint the frame. But for the sake of the video, I'm gonna pull the motor. We're gonna kind of do everything to it. Put everything on, make it sealed, I think. Put the pan on, put the water pump on, timing chain in, and just kind of, make it what we're gonna put into it. So we have another transmission that's supposedly rebuilt. This one will go in the Mercury. It's just a turbo 350, same as the other one we have, but the other one we have is just a little less crusty. And yeah, so pull this, let's get it on the stand, and then we can start just kind of going from front to back, gaskets, seals, and getting everything sort of in place. We're gonna paint the block. We'll paint the transmission as well, and probably leave it out, I would think. I mean, it only takes, it's only 4 bolts holding it in, 2 front motor mounts and 2 transmission mounts, so it makes it really easy to pull in and out. So yeah, we'll see where it goes. So there's a right way and a wrong way to do this, and this is the wrong way to do it. I had to jack the car up like, I don't know, a foot, or else my crane doesn't go underneath. So see how it goes, I guess. I think it will be okay. First time the engine's out of the frame in many months. That's cool. So if you've been watching from the beginning, I don't know, 20 videos ago, so like 4 months, when we first started uploading, we put these motor mounts in originally, and the motor just sat a little too low. So we'll be cutting these out now that we have access to them. We can finish welding a couple other little things as well, which is super awesome. And we can finish welding our motor mounts we put in. So a couple jobs we can do while the motor's out, which is good. and try and get all the brake lines done and stuff like that. So let's not do that in this video, and we'll get back to the motor. Okay, so a little bit of a setback on the whole motor fiasco, but we figured out. I mean, we had this 350, it was already in the Roadster. It was the motor that I envisioned going in the Roadster first off, but then the 327 came up when we were looking for motors for the Mercury. So it kind of worked out, but in the end, it didn't work out. But I'm not bummed. This motor is very clean. I've heard it run, no knocks, no ticks, no smoke. So we already know we have a bit of an upper hand on the whole motor scenario. This came out of a K5 Blazer, I think. So, I mean, it's been painted, so it's been clean. But I mean, looking at it, I can see a few spots where we're just gonna have to touch up before we paint it, because it's not going back in a K5. It's going in a Roadster where the motor is exposed. So there's a little bit more work to do. But I mean, we still have to do all the same stuff we would have to do on 327 besides reinstalling the heads with a new head gasket. We still have to put the intake on. We still have to do a timing chain cover, oil pan, so on and so forth. So we still have to do a majority of the work we'd have to do anyways. So yes, it's a little bit of a setback, but it's also a bit of a step forward because we don't have to take the heads off. So I'm gonna get on that tomorrow first thing, because there is a vintage water bomber landing in one of the bays kind of close by, and all the locals are gonna head out and watch it as it's, I believe, its final landing or its final kind of tour around the island. So we're gonna go check that out, and then actually, no, I'll film it. I'll bring you guys with me and we'll check it out together, and then we'll come back on this tomorrow and try to get as much as we can get done in the day we have, and yeah, see where it goes. Okay, so timing chain is in. My friend Marty came over and helped me out with this, so I didn't film it at the time, but did a little bit of a beefier one, and this is the only real kind of motor modification we're gonna do to this motor. Eventually we'll probably replace this motor, but for now, so we'll get it going, get it running, and we'll see how it runs. Maybe we don't have to replace it, but we probably will, knowing my luck. So that's in. We can put the cover on now. I mean, obviously not bolted on. I'd like to paint it first, but get this all masked up, and then give this engine a coat of paint. Let it sit, and then we can come back and start putting it all back together officially. Okay, so I think this is clean as it's gonna get. I mean, we did our best to clean whatever oil residue we could. It's been painted already, it's been primed already, so I just scuffed up this stuff. And yeah, I think we're ready to start spraying our red on. So let's, I guess let's just send it and put it on. Okay, so now that we have a few coats of base and we're pretty dry, we can start our clear coat. Probably do, I don't know, 2 or 3 coats and then bring it into dry. Okay, so the paint and the clear coat went on really good. I can't see any real big like paint chips or grease marks anymore. We cleaned it pretty good before we painted it, that being said. But so give it a day, I guess. I mean, I'll come back tomorrow morning. It's 6 p.m. right now, so come back tomorrow morning around 8 p.m. It should be dry enough. It's just still a little bit tacky. I'd be worried if I, nicked it with a tool that it would ruin some of the paint, and don't want that happening. So tomorrow we'll come back, we'll be able to play with it a little bit further. We'll take all the masking off, replace the spark plugs, replace some of the other little things we want to replace, and hopefully get it to a point where we can kind of see what it's going to look like in the car and the final product. All right, so it's been about 3 days now since we painted the motor, and just got super sidetracked with another job, which you'll see in an upcoming video, and you'll understand why I got sidetracked. But yeah, I'm super happy. Paint's really dry. I mean, I can run my fingernail. It's not being tacky or anything like that. So let's pull all this masking off. Obviously, I didn't mask the valve covers. And I forgot to mention that these were really poorly painted with some bad paint. So I got them for super cheap off Facebook Marketplace. I paid $25 for the set. And I mean, other than the crappy paint, they're actually in really good shape. So we'll be redoing these at some point. But yeah, let's pull all the other masking off and go over the motor and try to get it together as best as we can. All right, so motor is ready to start being put back together. Full disclosure, I won't be gapping the plugs or sealing the intake today. I like doing that kind of last step because then you can look over the motor once more before you get it going, as it will probably sit for, I don't know, maybe even months at this point. So it'll be going on, I just won't seal it. I don't even have gaskets for it, so we'll still have to get those. But everything else will be going on kind of officially, I would say, and then we can go from there. But this is my favorite stage of putting a motor together, and I will show you why. Because we get to look at all our goodies. Everything is here for the motor. We're gonna start with the easy stuff. I'm gonna do spark plugs first, then we'll put our block plug in, and then kind of go from there. Oil stick, timing cover, and then just kind of scatter around the table of what we're gonna do next. Okay, so nice and easy. We're gonna start with our spark plugs. So our next little project is this plug here. A lot of people use this as their temp plug, but I use the one on the intake usually, so that's what we're going to use. So you can get these little, I guess like square plugs from any hardware store, I think, but Performance World makes these great NPT kind of Allen key plugs, and I think they look much cleaner. So we'll be using that. Part number 93208. I didn't even know they existed. I think they look great because you can put them on your intake. if you're not using heater hoses. And in instances like this, they look a lot better and cleaner, even though you'll likely never see it because the header's right here, than a square plug like that. All right, so next step, take off our fuel pump door here, take out our fuel pump rod, which rotates on the cam and presses the spring on the fuel pump, which pumps fuel. Anyways, take these out. We're using electric fuel pump, so those aren't important anymore. We'll be going to our cover, which is a Moon Eyes cover. Got this from Driver's Welding, and I think it'll look pretty cool on here. So I'm gonna put our gasket in, and then I put a little thin layer of our ultra black just around here to seal it. I don't know if that's overkill. I think the gasket, a lot of people just tell me the gasket's fine, but I like always using a little bit of ultra black. Okay, so before we seal up our timing chain, I'm just gonna fold over the tabs on our cam plate. So these will just hold in the nut and make it nice and safe and strong. I like folding them a little bit before you put them in. It just saves you from scoring the top cog. But I just go little by little. All right, let's do the water pump now. This is a Tough Stuff aluminum polished water pump. And, you know, I personally, it's a very personal opinion, I like polished aluminum more than I like chrome. I just find it, I don't know, a better look. It's kind of like polished stainless versus chrome. But we went with the chrome bolts, so should look nice all together. I think it just breaks everything up nicely and, you know, looks shiny. So it is what it is. So let's get this kind of set up here. So when I have these longer gaskets like this, and they actually take up, you know, there's one side, which is okay. Then the other side is a little longer. I like to put a little bit of sealant on them, just a little bit. And then when it's all dry, I do my snug. I come back, I don't know, a couple hours later, tighten them fully, and then I will just razor blade that bottom piece off. Not a big deal, but just something I like to do. All right, guys, so we got our water pump installed, we got the harmonic balancer installed, we have both the pulleys installed, and we have one more thing to install on kind of this lower half. And I'm super excited to show you guys this. If you remember when we reinstalled the motor, we went to an LG 283 motor mount kind of combo, and it made my life so much easier. If you're looking for a good, reliable, easy to put on motor mount, go to LG Speed and Custom, because I just got this one back from Chrome and look how freaking good that looks. I'm super excited about this piece. This is gonna be one of my favorite pieces on the car, and it's even cooler that it's from a local guy who is my friend, and it's made right here in Victoria, British Columbia. And yeah, I don't have enough good things to say about this. This is one of my favorite pieces on this car. So if you're looking to install a small block Chevy into a Roadster, into anything, go buy one of these. Don't waste your time with the other mounts. Go buy one of these. It makes life so much easier. I bought one for the Mercury as well, and I'm super excited to put it in because it was so painless. But that being said, guys, let's put this guy on and check it out. All right, I am super stoked how that looks. Anyways, guys, we're gonna put the oil pan on now. I'm not gonna seal it. I'm just gonna put the 4 main bolts in to hold it on. Not gonna put any gaskets or anything like that. And just because I like doing that last kind of peace of mind, everything done when we put the motor back in. So that's the only reason why we're doing it. And we're just not ready to put it back in yet because we still have to paint the frame and do a bunch of stuff. So it'll just sit here for a bit and then we'll be fresh on it when it's gonna go back in. But we can start putting the pan on anyways, just to see how it looks. All right, so we got the pan mocked up. I am just gonna put the oil filter in just because I think it's the right thing to do. And then we'll put our dipstick in. So, I mean, we probably just leave this in. It's probably a smart idea, but it is what it is. Hopefully there's not oil in here. I just think that looks, for peace of mind, that just looks way better. All right, now, get this open. All right, so we can start worrying about the intake now. I'm gonna take all our tape off. Actually, I might leave the one for the carb. We'll leave it for now. Take this tape off. Mind you, we still need a thermostat for here, but we can get this on anyways. We're putting the carb on, but we're not officially putting it on. I still need a carb riser, and a carb riser looks like this. I have one, not the right style, but essentially raises it up, what, an inch? And more airflow, less heat. So we'll be putting one of those on, but I don't have one as of yet, so we'll just put this on for show, kind of like everything else. And we'll do a final assembly in a later video, but for right now, this is the way she goes. But oh well, it gives us a pretty good idea. And then we can put our air cleaner on. I feel like this nut's gonna be hard to get in there. We don't have all our bolts in. This is a little bit, I think we should paint in here. You know, just to the inside of this head, because you can see that. I don't think the valve cover will come, you'll still see a little bit. So maybe we just do a quick coat of paint in there. I think the gasket will solve most of that actually, but we'll see. Anyways, this is why I like doing a bit of a dry run, because you can see spots like this. But I'm pretty sure the gasket will take care of most of that. Okay, and last but certainly not least, before we put the alternator on, of course, but I like to see it, what it looks like without it, are our vintage Edelbrock valve covers that we restored. So we can get those on. I'm not gonna put bolts in right now. Oh yeah, that's a cool look. I am getting really excited about this motor. It is looking super cool. A couple more things we'd have to do. We have to put the alternator on. We don't really have to, but I'd like to. And the header's back on. So let's get those done, and then we can take our final look at what it's going to look like assembled in the car. This motor looks amazing. I think it's gonna look really cool in the Roadster once we get it to that point where we can put it in. But I am stoked. This thing looks awesome. It's probably putting a little bit of a makeup on a pig, but I mean, it's still, yeah, everything I envisioned. So 10 out of 10, happy with the way it turned out. Hopefully you guys are too, but I'm gonna call the video there because that's all we had to do in this video was make this look pretty, and I think we accomplished that tenfold. So if you saw something you like, dislike, something I can improve on, something you want to see done, specifically done to the Roadster, any comments about the motor, anything like that, leave that in the comments below. And while you're doing that, if you could hit that like, subscribe, and notifications button so you know when we're uploading, that would be very much appreciated. It helps us grow the channel and motivates me to keep making videos for you guys. But other than that, I hope you guys are just as stoked as me. This thing is so cool. And I mean, we still have a little bit left to do, obviously. Obviously, do gaskets on the valve covers, intake, stuff like that, kind of do the final seal up. But that will be at a later date when we're ready to kind of finally put it in the Roadster. So until then, we can stare at this thing in the garage and be super happy. And yeah, I'm crossing my fingers it won't take long, but hopefully we can get to this as soon as possible and see it in the frame. That's going to be the next really cool kind of milestone. But anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you on our next upload, which is every Friday. So we'll see you then.